Have you ever given your child a clear instruction? Put your shoes on, turn off the TV, brush your teeth, come to the table, and they just sit there? Silent, frozen. Maybe they glance your way, maybe they don't. But the message you receive feels like they're ignoring me. And you feel that flash of frustration, or disrespect, or helplessness. It feels personal. It feels intentional. But here's the truth. It's not that they're ignoring you. It's that their brain literally isn't processing your instruction the way you think it is. This is one of the most misunderstood dynamics between parents and children. We assume that if a child heard us, they understood us. But hearing is not the same as processing. Understanding is not the same as prioritizing. And prioritizing is not the same as executing. Children, especially ages 2 through 12, are often not ignoring you because of attitude or disrespect or laziness, but because of factors inside the brain: working memory limitations, attention fixation, emotional state, sensory input, and developmental readiness. When kids seem to ignore you, it's more often because their brain is already engaged intensely in something else. We see them staring at a toy, or a drawing, or a video, or a thought, and we interpret that as doing nothing, but their attention is actually captured. Their mental space is occupied. Children don't multitask like adults do. When they're focused, they live inside that focus. And when you speak into that state, your voice is like a sound from underwater, audible but not integrated. You think, they heard me, they're just choosing not to respond. But neurologically, what happened was this: your instruction didn't make it into working memory. And if a child is emotionally overloaded, tired, overstimulated, frustrated, hungry, or dysregulated, their auditory processing weakens even more. A child's brain cannot prioritize instructions when the nervous system is busy managing stress signals. So during the times when you most want cooperation, evenings, transitions, busy moments, the brain is least capable of delivering it. In this video, we're going to explore the real science behind why your child seems to ignore you. We'll talk about what's happening in the brain, how emotional state affects listening, how to get instructions to land, how to speak so your child actually responds, and how to stop taking their silence personally, so you can respond with understanding instead of frustration. But before we go deeper, I want to hear from you. What's the exact scenario where your child ignores you most? Getting ready for school? Turning off screens? Bedtime transitions? Dinner time? Let me know in the comments. Your real-life examples help shape our future videos. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint, where we explore real child psychology and practical parenting strategies that actually work, not just advice that sounds good. Because once you understand what your child's brain is doing, something amazing happens. You stop battling them and start working with them. You stop reacting to resistance and begin responding to biology. You stop personalizing their silence and begin seeing the truth. Your child isn't defying you, their brain is developing. When you speak to your child, your words don't just enter their ears. They have to travel through several processing layers in the brain. First, there's auditory recognition. They hear the sound. But hearing is only step one. The brain then needs to assign meaning to the instruction, store it briefly in working memory, and then convert it into action. And here is where things often break down. Children have a much more limited working memory compared to adults. We adults can juggle multiple tasks mentally, turn off the stove, answer that text, remember the appointment tomorrow. But children can often hold just one cognitive task in mind at a time, and sometimes barely that. If they are building something with Legos, imagining a story in their mind, or simply zoning out into mental rest, your instruction arrives like a foreign object trying to enter a space that's already full. This is why so many parents experience, "I just told you to do it." And the child, confused, honestly responds, "I forgot," because they did. The instruction never took hold, not because of disrespect, but because of capacity. Then comes emotional context. If your child senses urgency or frustration in your voice, that emotional tone activates the amygdala, the brain's emotional processor. When the amygdala activates, the prefrontal cortex, the logic center, responsible for planning and execution, temporarily weakens its function, meaning the more emotional tension in your request, the less able the child is to follow it. And here's another factor. When you give an instruction from across the room, or while walking away, or while they're engaged in something else, the instruction often doesn't embed at all, not by defiance, but by attention direction. Young children especially need physical and attentional alignment for communication. Being close, speaking calmly, using connection signals, and engaging eye contact are not niceties, they're neurological necessities. When children seem to ignore parents, most of the time they're not ignoring the person, they're ignoring the verbal input that never made it to priority coding. Their brain simply filtered it out. Think of it like being absorbed in reading a message on your phone and someone speaking to you at the same time. You may hear them, but you don't register it. You're not being disrespectful. You're cognitively occupied. Yet we don't extend that same assumption to children. We assume intention where there is simply processing limitation. Some kids also enter what I call hyperfocus mode, especially those with creative minds, ADHD traits, strong internal imagination, or deep engagement with sensory input. In those moments, their brain is not scanning for external commands. It's dancing entirely inside their inner world. And here's the irony. The more frustrated a parent becomes, the more likely their child's brain shifts into defensive or stressed response, which makes listening even harder. The cycle strengthens, the parent pushes harder, the brain shuts down more. Understanding this dynamic isn't about excusing behavior. It's about using methods that actually work. Because once you adjust how you communicate, you will discover that your child responds dramatically better. Not because they suddenly decided to listen, but because you finally communicated in a way their brain can receive. Let's talk about repetition, a major pain point for parents. You say something once, and nothing happens. You say it again, slightly firmer, nothing. You say it a third time, louder, and only then does your child finally respond. Many parents think, they're ignoring me until I get angry. But neurologically, that's not what's happening. Repetition isn't a sign they're disrespecting you. Repetition is how the brain prioritizes. The first request often lands lightly, unnoticed or half-noticed. The second request begins to register. The third request, especially if delivered with heightened intensity, finally breaks into full attention. Not because yelling is magic, but because the increased emotional salience forces priority shift. But this creates a dangerous pattern. The child starts learning, I don't really need to act until mom or dad raises their voice. Eventually, the child internalizes, real action only follows big emotional energy. And so listening begins to happen only when tension builds. Once we understand this, we can change it. The brain actually responds best to calm, direct, anchored communication. When you speak at eye level, when your tone is grounded, when your words are concise, the child's nervous system feels safe, and safe brains listen better than tense ones. We also need to address working memory from the perspective of the child. If they are deep in thought or play and you say, clean up your toys, their brain might capture only fragments of that instruction. It hears clean or toys, but the conceptual sequence doesn't take form. Think of it like trying to write a message on a chalkboard while the chalk is dull. It doesn't leave a lasting imprint. This is why one clear instruction delivered with full connection often works better than 4 shouted across the room. Another factor is time perception. Children live in the now. Their experience is immediate, not projected forward. If a child is immersed in drawing a picture, they're not thinking, I should also get up soon and put on shoes. They're fully present. Their attention is a single beam of light, not a wide flood. When your request arrives, it often bounces off the beam rather than redirecting it. So when a parent interprets their silence as defiance, the child often feels misunderstood. They weren't choosing to resist. They were simply anchored in their current cognitive state. A huge part of resolving this is shifting from reactive parenting to attuned parenting. When you walk into a room and see a child absorbed in something, you don't immediately drop a command into their world. You first connect, you anchor, You step into their space. You gently transition their attention. This is not permissiveness, it's neurological cooperation. And here's something surprising. Many children genuinely believe they do follow instructions because in their mind, they heard it but didn't yet act on it. The adult experiences delay as non-compliance. The child experiences delay as, I'm about to do it. The internal timeline is different. Listening and acting are not simultaneous events for a child. They are sequential and sometimes spaced out. Once we understand this, tension drops, understanding rises, and suddenly your child isn't the enemy of cooperation. They are simply a developing brain learning to shift gears. To truly understand how to help a child listen, we need to consider the emotional atmosphere surrounding communication. Children don't respond to words alone. They respond to the feeling behind the words. When a parent gives instructions while irritated, anxious, or hurried, the child's nervous system picks up on that tension immediately. And tension in a parent often translates to stress in a child, which makes listening harder, not easier. A dysregulated brain cannot easily shift tasks. It protects itself first. So imagine a different approach. Instead of calling out from another room, you step closer. Instead of issuing a directive, you make contact. A gentle hand on the shoulder, kneeling down, softening your voice. The message that reaches the child isn't just, do this, but I'm here with you. That presence opens the cognitive door. Now the instruction can step through. Children at young ages, especially before around 8 or 9, require what I call attentional hand-holding. Their focus doesn't move automatically when commanded. It needs to be guided there. It's like gently turning a child's face toward your words, not physically, but cognitively. When you say their name first and wait for the moment they look at you or acknowledge you, then your instruction begins its journey into their mind. You are not forcing obedience. You are preparing their brain to receive. And we need to talk about emotional trust. If the child associates parental communication with criticism, impatience, or disappointment, they may unconsciously avoid engagement. But if they experience parental communication as supportive, respectful, and calm, their mind remains open and receptive. Children do not listen well when they feel emotionally unsafe. They listen when they feel anchored in connection. Respect also plays a key role. Adults often expect respect from children before showing respect to children. But children learn listening through being listened to. When a child says something and we interrupt, dismiss, or override, we accidentally teach them that communication is one-directional. But when we stop, listen, reflect back, and value their voice, we model what reciprocal dialogue looks like. And here is something powerful. The parent who speaks less but more meaningfully is listened to more. The parent who gives fewer instructions but with clearer intention receives faster cooperation. Children tune out chronic command, but tune in to authentic engagement. They don't thrive under a continuous stream of verbal guidance. They thrive under moments of intentional communication. Sometimes the issue isn't the child ignoring, it's the parent overspeaking. Too many words, too many steps, too much explanation. A child's brain needs simplicity, clarity, one piece at a time. They thrive on guidance that feels possible, not overwhelming. Imagine the difference between hearing, "Get your shoes on, we're late. I told you 3 times, come on, we've got to go," versus hearing with quiet presence, "Shoes now, please." One is noise, the other is direction. And direction delivered with calm authority, not coercion, carries weight. Listening is not something we force out of a child, it is something we grow into them. Long-term listening develops not from obedience training, but from relationship building. A child who listens is a child who feels heard. A child who responds is a child who trusts the voice speaking to them. Your tone, your presence, your pace, these become the rhythm that guides their attention. Imagine years from now, your child is a teenager. You speak and they actually listen. Not because they are afraid, not because you dominate them, but because they value your voice. And they value your voice because throughout their childhood, your voice was not used as a weapon, it was used as a guide. Listening is relational. Children listen when they feel respected. They listen when they feel seen. They listen when they feel emotionally safe in their parents' presence. When a child believes their parent sees them as a whole person, not just a task performer, they naturally cooperate more. Their body relaxes, their mind opens, their ears become receptive. And here's a truth that many parents discover too late. Children do not learn listening through volume. They learn listening through modeling. If you consistently speak over your child, they will learn to speak over others. If you disregard their words, they will disregard yours. But if you stop, breathe, and truly listen to them, whether they're telling a long, winding story or expressing frustration, you are teaching them the very skill you hope to receive back. It all comes down to connection before direction. A child who feels connected will naturally comply. A child who feels disconnected will push back or withdraw. And your connection is not built in the moment of instruction. It is built in the thousands of small interactions outside of it. Moments where you listen, notice, empathize, and respond with patience. So when your child ignores you, the solution isn't louder orders, it's deeper presence. It's stepping into their world, sharing their moment, and then gently inviting them into yours. As they grow, their brain will develop more working memory, better impulse control, and greater ability to shift attention. But the emotional template you lay now, that will shape how they respond to you for decades. You are not just raising a child who listens, you are raising a person who respects communication, who values mutual exchange, who can regulate emotion enough to receive direction without defensiveness. This ability will influence their relationships, friendships, work ethic, emotional intelligence, and future family patterns. If this video has helped you see your child's behavior through a kinder, more informed lens, if it has given you relief, clarity, or a sense of compassion, I invite you to subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint so you can join a community of parents who are learning to raise emotionally healthy, resilient, and connected children. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one insight you're taking away about how children actually process instructions? Because your child is not ignoring you on purpose. Their brain is learning, growing, navigating sensory input, shifting emotional states, and expanding its ability to coordinate listening into action. And when you meet them with understanding instead of frustration, you are not just teaching them to listen, you are teaching them to feel safe in your presence. That becomes the foundation of lifelong communication and lifelong connection.